Your child is not watching cartoons anymore. They are sitting in front of a system that was built to hold their attention as long as possible. And that system does not care what it shows them to make that happen. Think about that for a moment. Not a person, not a creator, not even a company making conscious choices. An algorithm, optimizing, second by second, for one thing only, that your child keeps watching. And here is what that algorithm has discovered. AI-generated content holds children's attention longer than content made by humans, which is why researchers now estimate that up to 40% of videos recommended to children on major platforms show clear signs of being synthetically generated or AI manipulated. Not on obscure corners of the internet, in the main feed, the one your child opens when you hand them the tablet. You did not consent to this. No one asked you. It just happened, quietly, economically, while everyone was looking somewhere else. Here is what makes this different from every other too much screen time conversation you have heard before. This is not about quantity. This is about what is being built inside your child's brain while they watch. Children between the ages of 2 and 7 are in a critical window of development called the social referencing period. During this window, the brain is actively learning how to read faces, how to interpret emotion, detect trustworthiness, understand what it feels like when another human being is genuinely present. This is not a metaphor. These are neural pathways being laid down, connections that will determine how your child reads people for the rest of their life. And a growing percentage of the faces they are using as raw material for that process are not real. They are synthetic, optimized, designed to be maximally engaging, which means designed to trigger the exact emotional responses that keep a child locked in. Not faces communicating something true, faces performing truth at a resolution the child's developing brain cannot distinguish. A study from University College London found that adults rated AI-generated faces as more trustworthy than real human faces. Adults, people with fully developed critical faculties, decades of real human interaction, a calibrated sense of what a person looks like, they still could not reliably detect the difference. And when they could not, they defaulted to trusting the synthetic face more. Now ask yourself what happens to a 3-year-old whose trust circuitry is still being assembled when the first 1,000 faces she really studies are generated by a machine. She learns that synthetic is normal. She learns that smooth is trustworthy. She learns that the faces that feel most familiar, the ones she has seen the most, the ones she is most comfortable with, are the ones that were never real to begin with. And you will not see it. That is the part that should keep you up at night. This is not damage that shows up like a bruise. It is calibration, a slow, invisible recalibration of what your child believes a human being looks like, sounds like, feels like. By the time she is old enough to think critically about what she consumes, the baseline is already set. Psychologists studying children with heavy exposure to AI-generated media documented something they called perceptual flattening, a measurable reduction in the child's emotional response to real human faces compared to synthetic ones. The real faces started to feel less vivid, less engaging, less rewarding, because they were competing with content engineered to win that competition. This is what the platforms knew and did not tell you. Not because there was a meeting where someone decided to hide it, because there was never a meeting where anyone asked. The incentive structure does not require them to ask. It only requires them to optimize for watch time. And watch time goes up when the content is more engaging than real life. So the content gets more engaging than real life. And real life quietly loses. Your child is the variable no one accounted for. So what do you actually do? Not panic. Panic is not a strategy. But there are 3 things worth understanding. The first is that co-watching matters more than it has ever mattered. Not to monitor your child, to exist beside them as a real human face reacting to what they are seeing. Your presence, your expressions, Your genuine responses are the counterweight. They are what real looks like. Do not outsource that hour. The second is that imperfection is now a feature, not a flaw. Rough home videos, books with uneven illustrations, conversations with grandparents who stumble over their words. The messy, unoptimized texture of real human experience, that is what preserves your child's ability to recognize it. Protect it deliberately, because the algorithm will not. And the third is the hardest one. The platforms are not going to fix this. Not because they are evil, because fixing it costs money, and watch time does not require it. Which means the parents who understand what is happening are the only protection their children have. That is not fair, but it is true. And now you know it.